You mentioned righteousness.
Yes.
To me, righteousness means valid, legitimate.
Yes.
Okay, and it's covenant that makes you legitimate.
Yes.
But I think we found a false righteousness almost in our ethnicity.
Yes.
Like I'm right because I'm this,
Because of
or I'm that.
Yeah,
Or
it's-
you're wrong because you're this or that. Yeah.
It's taken on religious proportions.
Yeah,
It's
idolatry.
It's idolatry, right?
Absolutely. I see what you're saying.
In the book, I deal with the myth of black inferiority and I deal
Yeah.
with the myth of white superiority.
Right.
I said
right.
they're both ditches.
Yeah.
And you've got to bow down at the altar of both of those,
Right.
those calves, if you will.
Okay.
And the thing is they're both wrong, they're both false, and they're both bondage.
Welcome to In Conversation with Joel Brooks. I have with me Pastor Skot Welch. And last episode, we were talking about his book, Unfractured, which addresses the whole concept of Christians being divided because of a lack of Christocentric living in covenant with God. And we're ethnocentric, and so we have an identity issue, which allows us to be easily divided. I think last week I referenced 2 Chronicles 7:14.
Yes.
If my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray, seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I would hear from heaven, forgive the sin, and heal the land.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
To me, that's a recipe for healing the land. And
It
you
is.
know, I have a world, a global vision, but I really have a heart for what's going on here in the United States.
Yes.
And I believe we have something worth saving.
We do.
I think we have something worth preserving, and I believe it's at risk.
Yes.
Okay,
I agree.
So how do we begin to make some steps to make that happen? How do you see that verse in relationship to what you're talking about?
Well, first of all, I think it's beautiful because he says, "My people."
My people, yeah.
Right. So he's like, "I got you, but I
Right.
need you to get me."
Right. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I've given you everything. Here's the
Yeah.
directive.
Yeah.
Here's the prescription.
Right.
But now again, just like the grace for us to realize that is already on us to get it done.
Right.
So we're not waiting on God to do this. He's
Right.
waiting on us first of all.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I'm big on taking responsibility because when God gives us a command, the grace to fulfill that command is in his command.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So Peter, when on the water, comes. So the ability to walk on the water was in the
In
command.
that word, in the command,
And
yes.
so
Wow, great.
the same thing. And
Yep.
so I don't wait for someone to come and do it for us. And as you said in last week, the notion of leadership, Pastor.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that there's not enough talking about it. There's a lot of talking around it.
Right.
But there's not enough talking to it and really saying, this is what God expects of us, right? And it's great to have the services, but I think I almost see like a summit or charrette of leaders to say, this is the one thing we're going to talk about.
Right.
We're not going to talk about anything else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so let's talk about that. And I just don't know
Right.
if there's been any deep focus cross-culturally, cross-ethnic kind of with the different tribes
Right.
to really address this.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, we can do it. We literally can
Right.
do it. And I believe it's like God's presence is saying, I'm just waiting for y'all to show up.
Right.
And I'll help you do it.
Right.
But oftentimes,
It's not by power nor might, but it's by His Spirit.
it's by His Spirit.
Yep.
And I just think we're too quiet.
Okay.
And culture's so loud,
Okay.
right? Culture's so loud and people yelling and fussing and screaming at each other and everything. I'm like, I understand if that's your ability, this is the way you want to go. It might be marching
Right.
or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
That's fine. But I just think that we as the church, the family of God, is much too quiet, and we are very happy with being separate and having the conversations.
Right.
The problem with having homogeneous conversations where there's rooms where everybody's the same
Okay.
is that it actually even bucks against scientific experiments where heterogeneity and homogeneity, when they actually gave different groups, this was a Stanford study, and they actually had, we're going to give you a series of problems
Okay.
to solve. I think they gave them like 3 problems. And they said, here's a heterogeneous sample group,
Okay.
and here's a homogeneous sample group.
Right.
And what they showed is, so when I say homogeneous, everybody in there had almost every dimension you could have in common. They had it in common.
I got you.
Heterogeneous, everything that could be different was different.
It was diverse. Yeah.
I mean, it was. But what they showed was really interesting. They showed the metaphor was an airplane, and the metaphor for the homogeneous group was the airplane took flight much sooner,
Okay.
but it ran out of gas faster.
Okay.
Right, because it's easy. If we're kind of looking alike, there's no rub. You don't have a different accent.
Right.
You look like this. You come from this side of the tracks. Everything. Okay,
Yeah,
this is
right,
easy.
right.
But they ran out of ideas to solve the problems much faster because
Okay.
their experience and their background was very, very similar.
Okay.
Over here, the heterogeneous group, it took them a long time to get the airplane off the ground.
Right.
But they actually had much more fuel. Because this person was different, because they had
Right.
a draw, because once they normalize the fact that you're not going to bite me, I mean, it's just like, like, why are we getting so weird about this?
Right.
And so when we look at those rooms, what we see is that, and the body of Christ, and even Psalms 133, it says how good and pleasant it is when brothers dwell together in unity.
Right.
We're different.
Right.
But we're still brothers. In
Right.
Revelation 7 and 9, every tribe, every nation, every tongue. We're
Right.
different, but we're saying the same thing.
Right.
We're all dressed in robes of righteousness in that picture.
Okay.
Right? But we're different in saying the same thing. So we know that we don't have to be uniform to be unified.
Okay, you mentioned righteousness.
Yes.
To me, righteousness means valid, legitimate.
Yes.
Okay, and it's covenant that makes you legitimate.
Yes.
But I think we found a false righteousness almost in our ethnicity.
Yes.
Like I'm right because I'm this,
Because of
or
it.
I'm that.
Yeah,
Or
it's-
you're wrong because you're this or that. Yeah.
It's almost it's taken on religious proportions.
Yeah, like idolatry.
It's idolatry, right?
Absolutely. I see what you're saying.
In the book, I deal with the myth of black inferiority and I deal
Yeah.
with the myth of white superiority.
Right.
I said they're
right.
both ditches.
Yeah.
And you've got to bow down at the altar of both of those,
Right.
those calves, if you will.
Okay.
And the thing is they're both wrong, they're both false, and they're both bondage.
Wow.
And
Interesting.
until you actually find out that Jesus is at the center of the road and you got to lay down everything.
Right.
And what he wants to put back in your hand, he'll put it back in your hand. But you got to
That's
come to
good.
the center again
That's
because
good.
over here, and they're both debilitating, Pastor. That's why
Right.
that's why in the book I'm like, I don't believe in white privilege.
Yeah.
I believe in it's white deception.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Because when you've been sold a false bill of goods, because here's the thing. Privilege, and there is such thing. I look in the book as in the Word of God. I see kingdom privilege, but that's based upon covenant.
Right.
That's favor. That's
Access
all
to
those,
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when your perceived privilege
Yeah.
actually disadvantages or hurts somebody else,
Right.
you can't plant an apple seed and get an orange tree.
Right.
So you can't plant hell and reap heaven.
Right.
And
wow.
so you
Good.
can't plant oppression in the life of someone else and reap liberty yourself. It
Right.
just doesn't work. It's the law
Right.
of the seed.
Right.
And so it's not a privilege. Actually, it's a deception because you've been sold a false bill of goods because there is a harvest to seeds.
Right. And it's amazing because the division that is preached racially
Yes.
keeps both sides out of their kingdom best.
It just does.
It robs all of us
Doesn't it, though?
of what we would have
Yes.
if we were to obey God and allow Him to bless us.
Man.
You know, I think a key word there, Scott, is humble themselves. If they would actually come to themselves,
Yes.
wake up, and realize, we have issues and we're being manipulated.
Yes.
Okay, that you would be no more children tossed to and fro with every wind of doctrine, but grow up into Him, the head. And so I believe maturity is a real key to realize that people use these divisions
Yes.
against us. I know some pastors that are afraid to actually have racial reconciliation because it takes away their marketing advantage.
Ugh, isn't that awful?
The church is marketed as a cultural church. And then when you start talking to church growth people, that's what they market based on ethnic identity.
Yes, they do. Yes.
Okay.
I've heard
They
that
market
before.
based on ethnic. And so if we're listening to these things, we will never come together,
No.
And I'm not sure that I know what come together looks like.
Right.
I don't know if that means we're all worshiping together on a Sunday or we're all working towards the same goals because we identify with one another.
Yes.
And I think a part of humility is realizing that your problem is my problem.
Yes, because we're family.
Yeah, and
right?
that covenant is a protection from self-interest.
Yes.
I'm not allowed to just work for myself and my interests without considering how the world affects you and what can I help you with.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Like Pastor, and no more than the example of Joshua when the tribe comes over. He's like, you know what? Don't come over here. You go back and you help your brothers.
Yeah. Yeah, for those who wanted to be on the other side of
That's fine.
Jordan.
You can come over here, but first,
right.
go back and make sure they're whole.
Make sure they're whole.
Yeah, and that's to me. And also, I think that
that's good. That's a good example.
You know, you also talked about what would it take. I think this, whatever it is, it's iterative, much like the process of innovation.
Okay.
We rarely have these big lightning bolts, and it's like this is one amazing idea, and it's already baked, and the loaf is ready to serve.
Right. Yeah.
It's iterative. The light appears in process, right? One glimmer, and then boom.
I got you. Mm-hmm.
I think,
progressive.
but you have to first take the first step.
Right.
And I think it's the same thing for like what is next. I think the first thing is to gather.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? And you almost, as I think about it, it's almost first identifying who are his people. He said, if my people.
If my people, yeah.
So, okay, who are we? Okay, we identify, okay, who's God's people?
Yeah.
So let's all get together and, or at least in some way, let's figure out ways to kind of sort through this.
Who are called by my name.
Yeah, I think part of the model is in that.
Right.
And then it tells us what to do.
Yeah.
But I think, again, we'll find out that there's some that are just, they're kind of, the scripture called them, they are part of they hung out with the Israelites, but they were foreigners.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They weren't from us. Mm-hmm. They didn't come from us, right?
Yeah.
So right, and so I think that I do think the solution is in the first part of at least gathering and having some real honest things, conversations. And then I do think that part of that is once we do that, then I have a sense that I believe that God would show us the next steps.
Okay.
Because I'm big on sometimes you got to take the first step, take step one before you see step two.
Yeah, rarely in my life has God ever shown me the whole path. You walk it out a step at a time. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord.
Exactly. And
so
I think the answer's in the steps.
Right. That's good. I humble themselves, come to themselves, and begin to recognize, how do I help you with what you're trying to do? I remember one time I built an alliance with one of the chief of police in town.
Yes.
Okay, because I went to him. I said, this is my problem that only you can help me with. What is it that I can help you with? And he told me something he was facing with the police union, that he needed my help with.
Wow.
And I said, well, I'll help you with that.
There you go.
You help me with this.
Yep.
Okay. And because I'm a covenant person, I will never use our relationship against you.
Exactly.
And if I have to publicly speak against you, I will warn you first.
You'll know first.
You'll never be blindsided and
That's
say, man,
right.
where's Brooks coming from?
That's
No,
right.
I told you I have to address this, and it's not going to make you look good, but I have to address it because that's time. There's times when we have to do that.
Yes.
But at least we need to know I'm not acting out, I'm not using you, I'm not acting out
not
of
trying to get
self-interest. And so I think that's what love is about. Love does not operate out of self-interest.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And so the highest thing we can do is have covenant with one another. You know?
And you think about it, Pastor, it's funny too, because I think a lot of times covenant is a concept to many people.
Okay.
You got churches, and it's not to downgrade that, but some of them have the name. Okay, covenant this, right?
Yeah.
We love that, right?
Right.
We have, like we got with our bishop, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
But you can see it in his life.
Yes. Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's not a theory, it's a lifestyle. And I think the model is that when you mention that word, there's a weight to it. There's an expectation that comes with it.
Okay.
And I don't know that many people know what it really looks like. They think it's being buddies.
Right.
And buddies that's based upon convenience.
Okay.
Covenant is not based upon convenience. In fact, it's based upon inconvenience.
Right.
Right? To me, it's the difference between mentorship and sponsorship.
Okay.
Right? In companies talking about that mentorship, the person may say, okay, we're gonna get together. I'm gonna kind of teach you some things and how to be this better manager. When I'm a sponsor, I'm at the table even if you aren't, and I'm actually going to say, well, why isn't so-and-so at this table? I'm going to make room for you at the table.
Wow.
I'm going to bring your name up at the table. I'm sponsoring you.
Yeah.
I'm giving you my name. I'm
Right.
giving you my reputation within the organization
Right.
to allow you to sit at the table. And if you're not here, I'm going to ask why.
Wow. Okay.
So
great.
mentors can be sponsors, but and sponsors, I do think mostly they're mentors, right? But it's like sponsorship is a deeper level because you're not just coaching the person on the side.
Yeah.
You're literally bringing up their name to make opportunities and create opportunities for them to sit alongside of you in those meetings.
Okay, interesting.
I'm going to sponsor you. Like I work with people right now. I'm like, you know what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
I'm going to get you to be a senior level executive in this organization.
Okay.
And I've literally been with that person for probably 4 years now, and they keep getting promoted. They keep getting promoted.
I got you. I'm going to walk you in.
And I'm also at the same time
Yeah.
friends with the president of that organization. So I'm saying, hey, what do you think about so-and-so?
Yeah.
So I'm making room at the table for that individual.
So it's not only training, but it's intercession.
It's intercession. It's training. It's intercession.
Going
yes,
before. Yeah.
Yes.
That's interesting.
And we can't even have that conversation, Pastor, without talking about the economics of it. It's funny because when you look in the book of Acts,
Yeah.
and when the Holy Spirit fell, you see these various things taking place. But there's a lot of business transactions that happened during that in the book of Acts.
Okay.
Right?
Wow.
And how they sold land.
Yeah.
I ain't talking about Ananias and Sapphira because they kind of got that was another deal, but they lied on it, right?
Yeah.
But they were selling property.
Right.
They were making sure that each other had no need because they were in community.
Yeah.
They were breaking bread.
Right.
They were in prayer. They were doing business transactions and buying and selling land with each other too.
Yeah. So there was a communal mindset.
Yeah. And it actually went to finances and business.
Right,
and together. It did all it
Motivated
did
by
all that
love.
Motivated by love.
They weren't taxed.
No. And that's
Nobody
the thing.
commanded them.
No. And people wanted to join.
That's what got Ananias and Sapphira in trouble because they didn't have to. He said it was already yours.
He's like, it was already yours. Why do you want to lie about it?
Yeah, why you want to lie about it? Yeah, that's
Exactly.
interesting. Yeah.
But you can't, I don't know that we can really, because here's the thing, where the treasure is, your heart is.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so I think there is a financial part of this. I remember doing some work at a Christian Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
It was in Charleston, South Carolina. And after I was done talking to these folks, they said, "So, what do you want us to do?" They said, "Because we want to rename our city." This is really interesting. The Holy City.
Wow.
I said, I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Yeah,
I
that's
said,
stepping out there.
I said, why don't you actually let somebody come in to your city and say that they feel the presence of God, as opposed to saying, look, we're the holy city.
Yeah.
That means other ones can't be? I mean, like, what does that mean?
Right.
But I said, one of the things you can do, since I'm talking to business people, is why don't you put together an investment fund? Whereby you invest money into companies, but they have to have a certain value system within the organization. The teams have to be multi-ethnic.
Yeah.
The senior leaders have to be multi-ethnic. The opportunity, and you go after these things together. Why don't you begin to do business together? Because that, to me, is where the rubber meets the road.
Right.
And it's funny how you see it in religious circles, not Christian circles, but religious circles. That's where it separates a lot of times.
Right.
You can even come to their church. You can come to their service. But in terms of that contract or doing this opportunity together, no, that's for their family.
I got you.
And I'm like, but wait a minute, I thought we were family.
Right.
Right. And so I've seen that.
So that's a big paradigm shift.
That's a big
is
thing.
To see us as a family, because that means I'm included.
There we
go.
Yeah. And Jesus said, "Who's my mother? Who's my brother? But they that do the will of my Father."
Yeah.
He made the distinction.
That's good. That's good.
That was relation. The blood relation was outside the door.
Yeah.
And he defined family as, okay, it's them too, but it includes this other family.
Yeah, that's one of the definitions I've heard of family: father's house.
Yeah.
Okay, and so those who are in the same family have the same father.
Yes.
And at some point we have to yield to that.
Yeah.
I think, how can I say it? There's a lot of cry for help, but I think help over a period of time that doesn't empower you enslaves you.
I agree.
And so when we designed the New Genesis program, how can I say it? I didn't execute it as well as I would have liked.
Sure.
Okay, but the whole idea was like the 2.5 tribes
Yes.
who settled on the other side of the
Yes.
Jordan. They
Yes.
didn't cross.
That's right.
Okay, but Joshua's message to them, he said more to them than the people who were going in.
I mean,
He said, "Don't you rest until your brethren rest."
that's it.
And I think those of us who've entered a level of success
Yes.
need to show others how to succeed.
Sure we do.
And that's, to me, that's the blessing of this country, is that
Yes.
you can succeed.
Absolutely.
And that people talk a lot more about the obstacles than the opportunities.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the places where racially we can really cross some bridges.
I agree.
Is that if you know how to be a lawyer, you know how,
Yes.
you know what
what
law
it takes.
school is like.
Yeah.
You know what getting into law school is like.
Yes.
The
Why would you
LSAT.
help somebody?
And so there's people that's trying to get in
Yes.
that don't know those things.
See, that's where sponsorship.
Yeah, and so you need to go and sponsor some people. You need to find some people. What do you want to be, little guy? I
That's
want to be a
right.
lawyer. Okay, well, let me walk you through that. Let me
That's
show
it.
you what it's like, because you may not like it.
That's it.
Let me have
That's
you.
right.
Let me have you hang with me a
That's
day.
right.
As a doctor, let's go to the hospital, see some blood,
Yeah, we're gonna debrief.
see some people get cut on. You may not even like this world.
That's exactly
You may
right.
have it romanticized.
That's exactly
but we
right.
need to get some people beside us.
Yes.
And expose them to our world.
Yes.
And then tell them what it really takes.
Yes.
To
And
make
show
it.
them.
What does it? I want to be a businessman. What does it really
that
take
mean?
to make it in business?
Yeah, what does that
And bring some people with you.
Yes.
And to me, that's where, as opposed to just having church service together, if we could come together for a project like that,
There you go.
then we could really help some people. Because
Yes.
I want to do another podcast called Just Making It.
Come on.
Just
Yeah,
get people
practical.
who are making it, because I know more people who are making it
Yes.
than people who are not.
Yes, absolutely.
I know more people who are
Yes.
solidly married.
Yes.
They're working every day. They're
Yes.
taking vacations. They have money saved
Yep.
up. I know more people like that than I do people who are just in the gutter,
Yeah.
who's struggling.
I know.
And yet you can make it in this world. And that's what we need to be telling our young people, is that
Yes.
with God's help
Yes.
and the right relationships,
Yes.
you can make it in
Really
this
can.
world.
You can thrive.
You can thrive. You can
really
do really.
thrive.
You can do really well.
Yeah, and
you
see,
know?
that's where and I think again, defining family in a
Right.
covenantal frame.
Right.
That's where it should be every tribe, every nation, every
Yeah.
ethnos.
Right.
Right. It should be. We should be able to see that, and we should be able to. It's said because they had all things in common.
Right.
And that's why they didn't have need, because everything was in the house.
Right.
But we think house is building.
Right.
And actually, house should be in our Father's house,
Family.
which means it's across geographic boundaries.
Right.
Everything we need in the body of Christ
Yeah.
to have an answer to the world
Yeah.
is within the family.
And so the key is giving yourself.
Yeah.
Giving yourself
And
away.
being open.
Yeah. Being open to what God wants to do.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and getting involved.
Yeah.
I've seen where we see the problems with young people, and we have a march, or we have a church service. So it's almost like a one-trick pony,
Yeah.
where we've come up with something out of our past that addressed the problem, and we keep doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like a pony that keeps doing the same trick, and it's like,
you're like, okay,
man.
I'm not gonna pay for this again.
So I'm done. I don't need to stay here and watch this
That's
anymore,
right.
because this is not going to work.
That's right.
This is not going to get any place. And
You know,
so I think the key, the
something.
reason a march or a church service is easy, because it doesn't cost me anything.
Yeah. Right. And again, it's event centered.
Event
And
centered.
it's symbolic.
It's symbolic.
And there's
yep.
no tail. There's no long tail to it.
Right,
Because
right.
once you do the event, once the goosebumps have appeared,
Yeah.
you feel good.
Right, right.
And the thing is,
Takes the tension off.
it takes the tension off, because
Yeah.
you've done the celebration.
Right,
I'm like, but actually, the work needs to precede the celebration.
right,
And that's where, to me, I think we as the church, in many ways, we are. To me, I have albums because I like vinyl.
right,
When vinyl was the only thing that I had available, that's a different thing.
right, yeah.
So I've got a turntable and all that kind of stuff.
Right,
But
right.
now they're streaming.
Now they're streaming. Yeah.
Right? There is the iPhone 3G and there's the iPhone 16.
Okay.
Right?
Yep. Right.
There were the Nextels and the Trios, right?
Right.
To me, it almost as though the church is operating off of a severely downgraded operating system
Yeah.
because
Way
we
we
have
think.
all of this
Yep.
available.
Right.
And we still want to go to analog. And God's
Right.
like that model.
Yeah.
The model doesn't work anymore.
Right.
It's
right.
just
It's not relevant.
It's not relevant. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
that it's not important because you have
Yeah.
to build on history.
Yeah.
But what's not relevant is the methodology because, like Bill Gates, he wrote the book called Business at the Speed of Thought.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm like, yeah. And I've
Yeah.
learned too that business actually grows at the speed of trust.
Okay. Wow.
Right, you
Interesting.
do business with people that you trust, and so
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
have to. It's not a warm lead; it's a relationship, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But we first have to be conciliatory as the body.
Wow.
We first have to trust each other.
Yeah.
We can be about our Father's business
Right.
at the speed of trust.
Right.
Right, but there's work to do, and I really, really don't think that he's waiting on. I don't really think we're waiting on him.
Yeah, he's waiting on us.
waiting on us.
That's great. Well, Scott, I want to really thank you, man. This talk,
great, Pastor.
we know each other and we know our stuff.
Yes.
And so, but I want you to know this hadn't just been a rehearsal of stuff we know. It's reawakened something in me
And life
that has been gone for a while. So I just want to thank you for your time.
Thank you for the
go out and
privilege
get
of being
his
here.
book, Unfractured, a new one coming out.
Yeah, called Mending Sunday. That'll be
Mending
out first
Sunday.
quarter of 2026.
First quarter of 2026. You can get that stuff on Amazon
Yes.
or Barnes and Nobles. You can go to any of your favorite book places and
Yes.
get his book. Okay. God bless you,
God
Scott.
bless you too, Pastor.
Hey,
Thank
you guys have a good week, and I'll see you next week. Okay. Thank you.